Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of a Pretty Little Podcast. I'm Allie Violet Vixen Commissaro, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host Jesi.
Hello, welcome back, guys. We are so happy to have you back.
This is our 80th episode, and since we've had a wild ride, and sometimes Jesi and I just need to shoot the shit and just not have a guest on. So tonight we're going to reflect on all the guests that we've had on over the past year, because we've been really going at it. I mean, man, when I was going through I'm like, wow, we did this many shows in a year.
It is 2025, so we are reflecting on all our previous year. And since we started this podcast, guys, thanks for sticking with us. So let me get started with what guests were we most surprised by? Like what artist?
Most surprised by. You know what? I would say probably Lesbian Bed Death.
They were awesome.
Because when they first came on, so many people had sent me suggestions of them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until after they came on that really I had added them to my playlist. I got to really know their songs and connected with them, and they're really good about social media and everything.
Yeah.
And they're definitely a guest that I would want to have on again in the future.
Oh, definitely. They had just a lot of interesting things to say. Where their name came from too, I was like, I think that's super interesting, and I was Googling, reading about it afterwards, because I was like, that is really, really creative that they use that name. I just thought it was cool.
I mean, there's been so many fun guests and wild guests. And I mean, there have been a lot of shocking things that I think have come out in the middle of episodes. What would you say is probably the craziest thing that came out in an episode?
I would say some of the Easter eggs, or even some of the influences. When we interview bands, we always have bands talking about some of their influences, and some of them I never really heard until they told me that was an influence to them, and then I started hearing it, afterwards. I'm like, oh, I can totally see that you're influenced by Black Sabbath or whatever, now that you've told me that. I didn't initially see it. I always am very so that's one of my favorite questions to ask, that we both ask, your early influences for your music. Also, a lot of the bands that we've interviewed have gone on to say what they started as and what they are now. Because we've had bands be like, oh, we started as a cover band, and now, we're this band with all originals with
It's wild.
I know. And I'm like, I can't believe that. I'm always so surprised.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun guests. I know a really great moment for me was when I asked Aaron Scott of Fuel where how it was going from a fan singing the songs to singing the songs with Fuel. And that was a really sweet answer.
That was such a great interview. I was gonna say next, were there any guests who challenged you as a host? Because there are definitely some guests that challenged me as a host, either with you being too nervous, or their personalities or topics they brought up. Mine, obviously, I would say the hardest one that I had to do was a horrendous interview, because I was so nervous the entire time. Also, if you know horrendous. You know that a lot of their album names are hard to pronounce. So I did a lot of research, making sure that I was getting like the Exodus like album name correctly, because I love that album. I don't know how to say a lot of that stuff, and I feel like that's the thing with metal and music in general. You're never gonna find the right pronunciation.
I
So
was
that,
definitely nervous with Melissa.
yeah.
Like, and during the interview, like we kept like bringing up MySpace, and
Mhm.
now that they like said that they're doing the documentary and everything, like now I understand why she didn't really go into depth. Like,
Yeah. Now that they're doing like a whole thing.
but the
Um,
whole history of like her as a scene girl and like the
mhm.
bows and just the whole experience, yeah, that was kind of surreal.
Um, were there any guests who surprised you with their perspective or their story? Me personally, I loved doing John from Devil Masters interview, because his story with his grandmother getting him into metal and being a huge Ozzy fan with like knuckle tattoos, I was like, that is crazy. I wish my grandmother had knuckle tattoos. So that was definitely one that surprised me with her backstory.
Definitely, and like I kind of knew going into it, like he was
Mhm.
going to be a force, but Brian Durst
Yeah.
and his son Bryden, like, I mean, just, I mean, even like what he came on like mid,
Mhm.
like, no, more like in the beginning of the year, but I mean, he goes online every day and just
It's a lot.
spreads love. Like every morning, he's like, good morning. Like you made it through the night. Like you woke up. And like, I don't know. I give him and like, I give people credit that push positivity like that.
That was one that definitely stuck on with me too. Like, it definitely is one that's like I do think about a lot, because I feel like it had so much depth to it, and I feel like we've really gone out of our way to diversify the people that we have on. We've had music artists. We've just also have had people doing amazing things in general. With that, have you had fans reach out about a particular guest or episode, and what kind of
Oh,
feedback?
yes.
Yes.
You know what? One of the most reached out, like, I get asked about her all the time, Fallon.
Yeah, I get asked about Fallon a lot too. People
I
are
mean,
always like,
people like beg me to have her like back on the show. And like, I mean, like, definitely when I post anything about her coming on or like anything about it, I mean, people definitely love her. And I mean, I can't say that I'm any different though.
mhm.
Like, I get really excited when she gets on, like, comes on, because she's just like one of those people, like, you never really know what she's gonna say, but it's always like fun and just like,
I've got definitely got a lot of people asking about Fallon. A lot of it was, wow, I didn't realize she was so cool. I knew she was doing in all these things. I knew she did the horror movies. I knew she did the film, the modeling, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't know that she had such a great personality and how interesting she was behind all that. Like, as a person, not just, it's like disconnecting the things that she does, but her herself, she's just a cool person to talk to.
and I
I
mean, even with Daisy, I mean, I got a lot of people reaching out to me
like a
about
lot
Daisy too.
of fans. Yeah, absolutely. She has a lot of dedicated fans. Um, and I thought it was awesome. What was the funniest or most unexpected thing a guest has said during an interview?
Definitely with Bobby Vivid,
It was
just
Bobby
throwing it out.
Vivid.
Yeah, like, that like the whole interview, I was just like, what's next? What's he gonna say next? What's
Yeah. Yes, that was
I
definitely
feel like I kind of walked into it a little bit because I mean, I did
love
ask him like
that.
what rumors like he's heard about him. I mean, like, I guess with someone that's that in the public eye and out and about as much as he is, like, he's gonna have some stories.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And he's worked every job. So we had a little bit of everything going on this podcast with when we had Bobby Vivid on. What were there any technical difficulties or behind the scenes bloopers that we can share finally? Now
Oh
that we're
my
at 80 episodes.
god.
I would say that we've ran into technical difficulty every technical difficulty, every scheduling difficulty, everything that we could have possibly run into, to the point I will tell our viewers every single week, one of us has to update our Chrome or something, even with our producer reminding us.
I think like our biggest
Mhm.
our biggest mistake of the whole year, let's just throw it out there. Like, oh my god, Kevin Miller like took the
Mhm.
time, literally last minute took the
Yeah.
time to come on and was so good about it. And like, I was feeling so good. I had like really prepared. Like, I
Mhm.
really like was so appreciative. And then by accident, the name was put in wrong on when it uploaded. And like, yeah, that was like
We've
such
had
a hit.
Oh man, we have had literally everything happen from wardrobe. We've had wardrobe malfunctions. We've had we've had technical difficulties.
We've had a couple people like literally like they'd be sitting there and then they'll be like, hold on a second. And like they walk away, go do something. And
yeah. Our producer has had to really edit some stuff out and do a lot because we have just been all over the place. At one point, we've had episodes like where Allie has just been frozen for for 5 minutes, or we've had to like not say anything, cut it, and that's part
you know
of.
what? In all fairness,
Mhm.
like I feel like it's like either StreamYard is
Yeah.
having something going on or like something with YouTube. Like, I
Mhm.
don't really totally feel like that's our fault. And I
Well,
mean, like, we do have a lot of people on from overseas and everything, and the
yeah.
connection is not always as clear when it's coming, especially like with the UK. Like, sometimes those shows have been a little intense. Remember with Platinum Moon? Like, man, I'm never late. I'm usually in studio like a half an hour early. Like, I'm really good about it.
I'm always Allie says this time I am on 5 minutes beforehand. Like clockwork. I am you gotta tell I was like, Allie's gotta like tell me like, hey, we have to be on by this time. Tell Jesse a half an hour prior.
Platinum Moon, I was literally like, it wasn't my fault though. My computer just like
Mhm.
literally died.
My
Just
favorite one
completely died.
my favorite one is when we did the Saint Diablo interview and I was at the ER and my phone died. That one was good because
Or before we realized if you used your hands and made certain
it
like
was yeah.
hand symbols, like,
Mhm.
dude, all sorts of stuff would be exploding on the screen,
Yeah.
and we'd just be like, "Oh, yay, balloons!"
Oh my god, we've had a lot of bloopers. So we could probably make a blooper reel of just every time we've frozen, every time something's gone wrong. Um
But
or
you know
time
what? I have
yeah.
had so much fun with every
Yeah.
single guest that's come on. Like, I
Mm,
mean, even with some of your guests, like, I
mm.
didn't know some of them before, like, they had come on the show, and I was like really impressed.
I know. I'm always impressed with both of our guests, definitely, and how talented they are. Which guest story or advice has stayed with you the most? Because there is somebody's advice that I literally think of all the time, and it's one of my first interviews Dennis from Ghostpass, one of the questions I asked him is, what advice do you have to give to a new artist or somebody who is trying to start a band? And I ask that every time because I feel like it's really good information to have, especially when you have the hindsight and the success. And Dennis said, you have to hear a song and know it's you in the first couple seconds of a song. So you really have to like find your identity. And I've really internalized that. Like I've really just been like, you should be able to know it's you. And I've used that for my own like photography and my photography style. And I've used that like personally in my own music. I thought that was really good advice to have.
Trying to think. There's been so many people on. You know what? I think I don't know about like for me personally, like I can't think offhand because like we asked that question so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely feel that one that their advice was like really impactful was definitely Josh Balls. Like he gave so many like positive like things that bands could do to help themselves. And I really, Nick Myers too. I mean, Nick Myers, like, I mean, he's always like helping the bands and like doing whatever he can to like help someone get to the next level. But I would have to say I would probably go with Josh Balls for that one because I had a lot of people hit me up after his too, and they're like I didn't realize that was the way to go about it.
Yeah, definitely such an interesting person with so much stuff going on. If you could bring back one past guest for an update, who would it be? And what would you ask them now?
That's hard because I keep up with all of them. But I mean, I guess I go with Melissa.
And ask about the documentary and all that. I get it. I would definitely bring back MJ or from Horrendous. And because his other band, Crip Sermon, got Metal Album of the Year by the biggest metal publication in the United States of America, Decibel Magazine, gave
that's awesome.
Crip Sermon the best metal album of 2024.
You know what? Out of all of them, you know who I really want to have back on because it was in the beginning. And honestly, I was really nervous because it was like you weren't there. And it was like during the day. And he basically said, like, I can do it now, or like, I can't really give you an answer. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna like not do it.
Yeah.
Definitely I would like to have Mark Fruity and the guys from 408 come back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I just love them. I do.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's awesome.
But I mean, like any of the bands, like especially the ones that, I haven't seen them live before they come on the show, and then I get to see them live.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if anybody's dropping a song or like just wants a hype girl behind their music, I mean,
did you ever imagine that we would make it to 80 episodes?
I definitely thought it was going to be like a while off. Like, I don't know. Like, in the beginning, Dennis and I kind of like tried to guesstimate like when we would hit milestones. it's just a wild ride. I mean, like, no. Because I mean, there were like so many weeks that we were like, bi-weeking it and like
Yeah. There were weeks that we were bi-weeking it. There were weeks that we would have like 3 shows in a week. There were weeks that we didn't. It's just like crazy, and scheduling and stuff like that. Like, it's amazing. And the fact that we both have been so committed to it, and is another thing that's been amazing about it, is just like when you're working with people, things are hard. But when you find the right team to make things work, people who are committed to doing the thing, people are committed to the vision, I think, and that you all can get along. Allie is one of the greatest people to work with in this, and
Aw.
Dennis too. And I think that we really found our groove for things. Allie has so much perspective, and she's personable, like truly personable, and to work with. She cares about what she's doing.
Isn't it crazy how, but when you think back, like in the beginning, like you would throw a comment in here or there, but like
Yeah.
for the most part, you would just be like, okay, do your thing. Hey,
Yeah.
I'll just hop in like, you led a lot of shows this year.
I did lead a lot of shows, and I am in the midst of seeing who I want to book in 2025. I definitely feel like I got my land legs or some courage behind me from. I literally interviewed one of my favorite bands of all time.
And you're like, good. Once you learn not to make your intro that long,
I know.
you're
It is
good.
when you start, you just start going crazy when you first get started. Sometimes you overdo it, and like we all learn by trial of fire on this podcast.
I think the best thing for me is that we've had so many people that have wanted to come on our show. Like, I mean, it's always awesome when you reach out to someone like that you followed for a while, whatever. But I mean, like, we've had so many people and like just the people that have been like involved. I mean, even with the segments that we've done, like, it's all been like really positive, which I know from like other experiences and like hearing other people's stories that it's not always like that. I mean, like, the guests that have come on have just been awesome. Like, so many times I was like nervous. I'm like, oh, I hope that they're like a certain way. And like, they've all just exceeded any expectation.
I definitely agree with you. There's definitely been we've had so many amazing people on the show, and I'm just like lucky to be a part of it with so many people. Since we've had so many amazing people on the show, would you like, if you could have like a round table of guests that we've previously had on at once, who would you have on like together?
I don't know. It depends on how many windows I have.
I know.
um, I guess it kind of depends on the segment. I mean, like with the WTF,
Yeah.
like it started as one thing, like just to kind of make content, and it's become like something kind of like more meaningful than that. And I mean, like, I've realized, like, I mean, it's kind of crazy that I kind of feel like we're to the point that we kind of like can just reach out to someone, have them come on, and like the people that have been coming on, like they've been so, I mean, like you'll see it airs tonight. Well, it aired on, well, whatever. It'll be out by the time this comes out. But like Jamie Reed and Natalie, like they were like so fun last night. Like we were laughing through most of it. And you weren't even there telling your jokes.
I definitely want to do like a trivia, like something really stupid. I want to do something really stupid game show.
I feel like Dennis from Ghost Bath, he has to be on it because he was the first one to kind of throw it out there.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what? I go back on it. You know who I want to have back on? Jerry Other. Because kind of heard through the grapevine that he's working on some other stuff. And yeah.
Looking ahead, are there any dream guests you're still hoping to get on?
Jade Starling.
That's been stay on, baby.
Farrah DeMorte.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many cool people. September Morning. I mean, Deadlands. Like I'd like to have the rest of the guys from Saving Abel come on.
That'd be awesome.
I'd love to have Rehab come on. I mean, definitely Martha Stewart. I mean, like she's all
sick.
And I'm gonna say Ice-T and Coco.
I just saw that they celebrated an anniversary, and the photos are bomb, very, very hot.
They just seem fun. Like I just want to hang out with them sometimes. But yeah, I'm trying to think who else. Like I'm gonna forget a whole bunch of names. I'm like, definitely Nail Bite. Like I would like to have them come on for an episode. I don't know. Trying to think who else. I mean, I did do an interview with Sky Sweet Nam before, but I would love for her to come on, you know, a Pretty Little Podcast with Sumo Psycho. That would be awesome. Really awesome.
She did an anime ending in the early 2000s, and I would love to ask her about that.
She's so cool. She's such an amazing, like, you know, I loved her before I saw her live, but man, it was just like one of those moments where like I was just so happy. Like yeah, seeing her and like she's so like interactive all over the room, like just love her. And I love do you like follow her like with all the
I should
the calendar, like every month she's like, open your calendar, like, and she shows like some fun picture and it's like something weird that we would do.
I love that.
It's like if we could do anything for a calendar, like that's what she's pulling out there. Like I mean, this month's got like a mountain with like lava face that's like breathing down, and she's just like a warrior.
I'm trying to think like any iconic moments that people quote from our 80 episodes. Like, do we have any running themes or inside jokes? I feel like one of them's constantly like pointing to the just like the other.
Oh way. Yeah, the wrong way.
Yeah.
They got to start going like this
all the time. We're doing that.
And you know what? Like even for a while, I tried to like I went through and I like reset the settings so that it wasn't a mirror. And then I was getting confused with that because I was so used to the mirror.
Mm-hmm. I feel like an inside joke is if I'm wearing pants, that goes back pretty far.
That is so great. And when I convinced Lenny that like I had told you that he had made some comments about it, and he like messaged you that weird message.
I know. I do think you wear pants. I made one bad joke. Why did Allie tell you?
And like afterwards, like I let him go for like I think it was like 2 days, and then I was like, yo, I never even said anything to her. And like it was so awkward.
That's so funny.
And you handled it so good. You're like, okay.
I was like, all right. Okay, I don't really care.
No, I have to say the funniest like moment throughout the whole thing was when Ryan McCombs came on and he had put Angry Hobbit in the little like name thing.
Yeah.
And I thought Dennis was messing with me. And I'm like writing Dennis in the chat, not realizing that you all can see it.
Yeah, that was good.
And Ryan like finally wrote, he's like, I put that. Like that was so funny.
Yeah, that was funny. That was a good time. That was a good inside joke that we could all laugh at looking back. Those are definitely like the inside quotes that still make me laugh like 80 episodes later. And it's funny because that's like some of the stuff like at the very beginning. That's excellent.
I love your waffle enthusiast.
Yes, that I am still a waffle enthusiast.
Just got the bops, the bops, the bops, the bops.
Yeah, yes, so good. I'm trying to think what else. Like, I feel like we're so deep into it. We've experienced so many.
We want Bloodhound Gang. We're gonna throw that out there. Bloodhound Gang. We'll take anybody, whatever amount of time you can give us. Yeah, that would be awesome. DJ Q Ball. Come on.
Yes.
We can talk about Rivet. We can talk about your career. We can talk about anything you want. I definitely some other bands that I'm Steal the Sky. Alyssa is just such a cool human being. Like that's another one. Anybody that doesn't follow her, she's in another band, Go Go Gadget.
Cool.
Now, like she's just a straight entertainer. Like, I mean, and she's a model also, just doing insane shots and Turning the Tide. They were a cover band and now they just started doing their original music.
I love that.
Shout out to Garrett.
Okay. What is your like your setup when you're podcasting? Like what do you have going on behind the scenes? I always have Hunter. I usually have like a little I have LaCroix or seltzer water. Yes, you always have 6.
I've got my 6. I have my mic. I have my Hello Kitty pen. I love these pens. I'm like weirdly obsessed with them, and I think it's like from when I was a kid sort of thing. But I love like all the multicolors. And then let's see if I can grab this. Have this cute little.
Oh, I love that.
And then like I had to like make it my own. Just moved it. I had to make it my own, so I have my little Elvira.
That's cute.
They're like really trending though. You can get like cup holders for the side. Like I definitely haven't had a chance to like really, and then my ring light.
When you are podcasting, like when you're doing an interview, how are you doing the questions? The way I do it usually is when I first started, I would literally print out like an fucking like a ledger. And what ended up happening is that you can hear me turning the pages with the questions. So I stopped doing that. What I ended up doing was doing a whole typed out like thing, and then I email it to myself so I can read through it on my phone, and then I can read through it a couple times, and then like while I'm doing the interview. So if you ever see me looking down, it's usually that I'm referring to the my source material, my questions and stuff like that. And but that
You know what?
is
For when we first started, yeah, I would write out like some of the questions, whatever. Now, like I'll write down like information that I don't want, like, because I always mess up the way to say
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
If I know I'm gonna do that, I will write it like how I would say it,
Mhm.
and I'll have that in front of me. And like I always have a sheet somewhere that has like backup questions,
Yeah.
just like if I do like kind of like have a moment where I can't think of anything, I can kind of reach for it. And I have one for like solo artists and one for like bands coming on.
Mhm. I
But I
wanna
mean, I feel like there's like a group of questions that we usually ask
ask, yeah. If
throughout.
I'm really tailoring when I do a lot of my interviews, I feel like I do so much fucking research for that for the bands. Like if I'm interviewing you, I know your entire discography already. I have beat the shit out of it.
I think
Um
that's been a strength though for us because
yeah.
I do the same thing definitely. And like, it's got to feel good for our guests, like when they come
Yeah.
on and like we know like what we're talking about.
Mhm. I wanted to leave this moment up to our like tell everybody listening, if you have a guest that you want to see in 2025 and you want us to interview,
Comment.
please comment below. We take it seriously. You guys keep us going, your viewership, you guys watching our content. If you guys want to see somebody, we will reach out to them. So just letting you guys.
And I just have to say sorry to all the people. I just realized that if you don't know the person on Instagram, it
Mhm.
goes into a requested file. I did not know that that happened. And I am trying to go through, there's a lot in there, but I'm trying to go through and get back to all the people that had wrote me in
Mhm.
that. I just realized this was a thing on New Year's Eve. Somebody
Oh.
had sent me something. I just happened to be on my phone and like went into the file.
Mhm.
But to anybody that wrote me on Instagram or even on Facebook, if I don't answer you and you really want to come on the show or really want to talk, like please make sure that you write me again because
Yeah.
sometimes I just don't get it. And like I would hate for anybody to think that like I don't have the time for them. It's just sometimes I get bombarded. So don't take it personally. Seriously, you can always write me again or comment on my story or, because things get lost on social media, man.
You're talking to the choir. I completely get it.
Did you know that that was a thing?
Yeah, I did. I just didn't know you weren't checking it, girl.
Okay, let me just tell you. You know what
Mhm.
really bummed me out? I was getting like a complex because remember that band Telltale that we
Yeah.
saw?
Mhm.
I loved them.
Mhm.
And I kept reaching out to them and I'm like, why aren't they getting back to me? Like
We're
they
in the
really seemed like they were interested. Like this that
yeah.
the Bryce had wrote me like right after I had talked to him. So yeah, I reached out. I apologized to all the people that I've got through so far and just said like, yeah, we would love to have you on. Like, let's figure it out. It's
Mhm.
really just down to scheduling because like I think that's another issue. Like we book up so quickly
Yeah, we do.
that like before, like I used to have months, like I would be like booked up 3 months out. Like
Mhm.
it's really hard to do that when people's schedules are always changing. I mean, like, we do adapt and, like,
before.
switch it up, and
Um,
especially for the UK ones where we have to go on, like, in the middle of the day.
those are always I actually kind of like those because then I have the rest of my night to vibe. Um, any recommendations a guest has told us to check out and you have gone and checked out and been like all about? I'm trying to think. Um,
Lesbian bed death.
no, I'm saying like anything that a guest has recommended that we check out. I'm trying to think. Because like we've definitely all I heard was like that the food in Europe sucks. So from JV Green was like you're gonna not be eating. So but I heard the Indian food is really good over there. So
I think, and it kind of surprised me, a lot of people said not to sign. Like,
yeah,
like, I was actually, like, really, like, stunned at how many people
yeah,
kind of recommended that.
yeah. I agree with you. I was like interested with that too.
I mean, and how many, like, artists that we had on were, like, wrapped up with other artists
mm-hmm.
that I didn't even realize, like, had kind of known each other.
Everybody kind of knows each other. I do love that. Um, and the last question I wrote was, if somebody is listening to all 80 episodes, whoever is listening to all 80 episodes, what's one takeaway you would hope they would get from our show?
That we care.
Yeah.
That, like, it's not, because I think with a lot of, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, it's media. But I think, like, a lot of people would have a guest on that's controversial,
Mm-hmm.
and they would kind of play into bad characteristics.
We've definitely had the opportunity to have some really controversial people on. People have reached out to us, but we've never wanted to. So we support who we support, and that's it.
Like, I never want someone to walk away from our show, first
Mm,
of all, feeling uncomfortable, second of all, feeling bad about themselves. Like,
yeah.
we went into this to highlight
People we love.
fascinating people and music that we love. And, like, I think we've done a really good job of keeping with that.
Yeah, I entirely agree with that.
Like, sometimes I wish that, like, because I was told all along, like, always keep, like, the messages from people and,
Hmm.
like, post them. And, like, I have them. I have them all, like, in my messenger. But I mean, like, it's just amazing how many people, like, have come on the show and then, you know, got a little bit of energy after it.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on
I
that.
definitely, like, went, what really, like, kind of changed things for me? I was going into it at first and I was like, everything's got to be perfect. Like, the questions have to be perfect. This has to be perfect.
Mhm.
And, like, one of my friends had said to me, like, the thing that makes Howard Stern so popular is he gets right to it. He wants to know,
Yeah,
like, why someone is the way they are in their story. So I think ever since I kind of switched it from, like, what the perfect interview would be, like, it's more about what that person wants to say to the world.
I agree.
And that definitely was like, it was definitely an adjustment. But I definitely feel like we have found our groove.
We're definitely in it.
And I love that you've come out and really shown, like, because you're funny as shit. I like. a lot of people would look at you and you're goth and you're very like dark and like, they got the fangs going on. That was another great moment. Wait a second. When Say When came on, I was like, ask me about your fangs and like going on.
They're like, pause the whole everything.
That would be another blooper that, like, if there is a guest coming on that I know, is religious or whatever. I mean, there's been times that I've called Jesi like, do not wear a tank top today. Do not wear a tank top.
There's definitely been those.
But I definitely like love when you come on and like just, I don't know, having you with me for this journey has just made it that much better.
I appreciate it. I love being part of this team.
So before we get off, do you want to talk about your band a little bit? Because everybody keeps asking me, like, what's Jesi doing? Like, where's her band performing? This, that, and the other thing.
So I feel like I feel like part of growth is always doing things that make you uncomfortable. Because that's how you grow. So doing this has definitely made me uncomfortable, but I think in a good way. I think that's something I had to learn in 2024, that growth feels uncomfortable. And the band I am in is called IBS, Irritable Bowel Syndrome. We've played maybe like 5 shows so far, and I'm doing the vocals, and I really love it, and I really love the music that we're making, and I think that what we're doing at the end of the day is we want to make music that is fun, that's fucking sick, that rips, has a sense of humor to it, because I think at the heart of what I love about music is that it's fun, it gets the fucking people going, and I just love that shit, and I'm doing it with people who also love music and are fun and funny, and you want to take it seriously. You can be called a band called IBS, Irritable Bowel Syndrome, and still have riffs that are fucking sick. And it's sick. We practice all the time. Even if we don't practice for a couple weeks, we like get
Now,
back.
how has that been being with seasoned musicians? Like,
Being with people who have been in bands. So our
I'm sure
drummer,
there's like a certain standard that they like
bass
expect.
player have been in bands as of starting IBS. The guitar player is a childhood friend of mine, and he hasn't been in a band since high school. He shreds, fucking shreds. So he fucking shreds out. Like, he did the whole like master's degree, but never stopped playing music throughout all of school and getting doctorate. He has a doctorate, dude. So he's getting his doctorate. He's fucking shredding on the side. He's still dedicated, still has a passion, still has a love for music. And I think that added to the desire of wanting him in the band, because if you still have so much going on already and you are literally getting your doctorate and still want to pick up the axe, like, I have nothing but fucking respect for you. With me, I've had such a deep love of extreme music my entire life. Like, 4th, 5th grade is definitely when I started getting into I started getting into Children of Bodom, I started getting into Cradle of Filth, I started getting into, like, a lot of these really entry-level bands, I started getting into Black Sabbath, and, like, once you get into Sabbath, it's just, like, a downward slope, and you just keep looking for heavier and heavier and heavier stuff, so music is a huge part of my life. I go to as many shows I can possibly go to. All the people that I love are really into the music scene. It's the number one thing that I can talk about because it's the number one thing I know about. Is like I just know about music and my love for it, and I have so much passion for it and the things that are coming out. The
And I
things,
feel like having having all those elements like with your different band members,
yeah.
like you guys are always growing. Is there anything that you're like looking to add in the future as far as like instruments or
I know we're thinking about adding a second guitar for live shows. I don't know. It's gonna end up being a surprise who it is because we're still trying to figure out exactly who it is, what's going on with it. Um, we're gonna be recording an album soon. We're still writing songs and whatnot and doing shows and having a good time. And I think at the heart of it is having a good time with your homies. And um if you want to get involved with the music scene or you love music, go to the shows, start a band, do your thing. Like, do you want to do a two-piece, do a two-piece. You want to do a solo project, do a solo project. Do not let anybody stop you from making music. Music's fucking awesome. Music makes the world go round. I love music, and I love being a part of the scene.
see,
And
I'm a music enthusiast, but like I don't play an instrument and like I can't sing. So with me, like
I'm just like, even if you can't do that, like, if like one of the things I wish I got started on earlier, I wish I started doing show posters. One of my friends did show posters in like high school, and I'm like, you should have kept at it. You could have, like, because I love the homies that do those. Are like, I have so much admiration about them. There are so many moving pieces that keep the music scene alive. There's everybody coming out to them, coming out to the shows, supporting your local bands, buying the music, doing all the things.
now, do
Also,
you find it easier being on stage and like being in front of people and like just interacting after being on the show? I mean, because
that this has definitely
we're at it
helped.
on 2 years.
I know. I think that being on here has definitely helped me with a lot of things. Like, I think that it's given me the confidence in other departments of my life. Like, I think that being on stage, just talking to people in general, it's definitely helped. And I think this show has been really grounding for me because I've had such a transcendental life. I've gone through so many things. Like, I've literally been in points while recording this where I've literally like lived out of a backpack pretty much, like couch hopping levels of like living out of a backpack, like just like not ideal situations. But the one thing that I have, I'm like, I got a podcast, and so I think this show has been really grounding for me throughout my entire like journey the last 2 years. And shit's been hard. Like, shit's been hard for all of us. Like, everybody on the show has been through something on it, whether the viewers can see or not. And but behind the scenes, we know. And I've nothing but respect for everybody showing up every week for this. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, like seriously, like I mean, you and
we've
Dennis are like
yeah.
my family. I mean, like
We've had
I
like
mean, it's so much more than just even like us coming on here each week and doing the interviews. I mean, like it's just like it's a way for us to just interact and like stay connected. And I just love hearing all the stories. Like, I mean, even with the ones that are like the hardships or like when someone like says something and like my face, like, I never know what kind of face to make, especially when someone's telling like something like really heartfelt. Like, I always seem like I make like a really weird face. But like it really helps me to like understand people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really helped with the way that I relate to people. Like, I've really learned in a lot of I mean, when I first started doing the show, I would cut everybody off all the time because I was just used to always like doing the solo thing, kind of talking. But I've definitely come a long way with listening, and I I really appreciate that people have opened up to us the way that they have.
Yeah.
Because I know that when we went on like Monte Carlo's podcast, I mean, after I got off, I was like, why did I say that? Like this would be the answer I would get. Like, it's hard when you're on the spot to think of like answers to things. And I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate that there have been so many guests that have come on and not watched everything that they've said.
Yeah.
Because it just makes the interview more fun. I mean, like, it's fun to hear the actual story and what they went through to get to where they are. I don't know. But this has been such a just blessing in my life, and I'm grateful for you, Dennis, everybody involved. I mean, even like doing stuff with Natalie and Jamie, like, I mean,
Yeah.
just and Skylar said that she would come on and do
I
one
love
of the segments with us.
I love that. I love that we have so much going on for us, and I can't wait to see what you guys can't wait to see what we have going on for you guys in 2025. And I just want to thank everybody for coming on, watching every week, and we love you. Even though I got like a whole like three I got 3 nails on now. How the mighty have fallen.
What happened?
If
Is
one
that from last night?
if one falls off, I have to rip the rest of them off. I don't know why I'm like that, but like it bothers me.
I
But
think
yeah.
I've only ever seen you clawless one other
I
time.
need to take a break. Also, I'm having like a manic episode right now. I'm like all depressed and weird. So I'm like fucking bite my nails off.
I
So
finally
maybe
kicked
I can
that.
take
I kicked it like 5 years ago. It was
yeah.
like the hardest thing I ever did. Like
I
I kept breaking the real nails. So I literally would go and get the press-ons and just put them on so that I would not bite my nails.
yeah. Yeah. I just like I just need to take a break from the acrylic nails because I've been getting them every like couple weeks for so long that I just need to take a little break because
It sucks because I was doing really good. Like, my nails, I had them all grown out and they look nice, like my natural nails. I want to shit.
yeah, I think I just need to take a break. Let them heal. Sometimes if you have acrylic nails, you know what I'm talking about. You just need a break sometimes.
You know what gets me, like, especially around Christmas, like getting the tags off, like the price tags off of things. Like, you gotta like use your nail to scratch it.
Uh-huh.
And I probably should just use like a razor blade at some point. But yeah, my nails always seem to get like mangled when I like try to wrap presents or like stuff. But thank you everyone for tuning in. The last year has just been a blessing and we love you all.
Yay. All right, we love you. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.